Hello everyone, my name is Auro and welcome to the 14th devlog of More to Glory 2, a turn-based gladiator roguelike. I wanted to add some new dynamic tiles to the game, so basically these environmental tiles that have a unique effect when you step on them or otherwise interact with them. And two of the ones I added were spikes on the floor and then also this pit where you can fall into. And then one thing that actually took quite a bit of time overall was to add some logic how I could have several different of these dynamic tiles in just one location. So before it was so that only one could be in any given tile on the map, but of course if you step on spikes, there's bound to be some blood on the floor also. Your feet are gonna bleed if there's holes in them, so yeah, blood is also categorized as a dynamic tile in the game, so I needed to add something to make it work. Then with the addition of these new dynamic tiles, I was led to another big task, which was to add tooltips for the dynamic tiles. And while it might seem pretty straightforward, there was actually quite a bit of tinkering I needed to do, especially when you can have multiple dynamic tiles in any given location on the map. There was also the matter that, for example, a fire tile, the main function of a fire tile would be to add a burning debuff to your character. So I wanted it to be very clear to the player what would happen if you step on the burning tile. And to do that, well, I then needed to showcase the burning debuff you get from stepping onto the fire. So yeah, basically I decided to handle that with a child tooltip that is immediately opened when you open the dynamic tile tooltip. And to help test out all of this, I decided to add new skill to the game, which I call Fire Nova. So the purpose of this skill is basically just to spawn a lot of fire around you. I have to say that it's a pretty fun skill to use. Maybe later on I might have to tone down the fire tile a bit. I mean, currently it's very powerful, and yeah, it doesn't take too long to kill someone with it. You might also notice some tooltip adjustments in this video also. So yeah, with this I basically had the dilemma of how to properly handle all the child tooltips. I won't go too deep into the details, but you can have the Fire Nova skill, which will spawn fire tiles, which will cause burning debuff. And then to add some more complexity to that, in my game you can also have like a staff that gives you the Fire Nova skill. So that's already basically like a four layers of information that I want to show somehow, but yeah, luckily I managed and now that is working. Oh, and yeah, at this point I also made some tooltip adjustments for the skills, so now instead of just list of text and information, I have these icons I'm using that like tell the cooldown, the range, the damage and stuff like that. And then I figured it might be a problem if a unit is standing on top of a dynamic tile and you don't know what happens like with the dynamic tile, because putting the mouse over the unit will show the unit tooltip. So I decided that okay, if you're standing on top of something, the unit tooltip will also have child tooltips on the side. So yeah, that will show if you're standing on fire, it will show you're standing on fire. And then also if a unit is suffering from a debuff or has a buff, that will also show as a child tooltip on the side. And all of these might seem like small details, but yeah, they took quite a bit of time to work out what looks nice and what actually works with all the constraints I have in the game. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and I think it's very clear visual and informationally, like what is going on. At least I feel so, but I would of course love to hear from you also what you think. I think I mentioned it in a devlog a few weeks back or so that in this game the units will have levels, and to support that I of course need experience points and to have these experience point bars. So I started with a simple bar that has this like colored square sprite that has the like local scale variable adjusted. So if it's at 0, then the local scale for the x-axis is 0, and then at full it's 1. So that's a very easy way to have this kind of like filling bar graphic. Then next I added this level up notification when you actually fill the bar to full, and I also added this easing in, easing out to moving the bar, so it's not like a static movement, it's kind of like a slow at start and then speeds up and then slows at the end also. Then I also added this speed variable to the bar that will get adjusted based on the like amount of XP you get. So for example, if you get a bunch of XP, enough to get you like 2 levels or something, then to not waste like time, it will go really fast to fill the 2 levels and then slow down at the end. Then I also played around with some sound effects to the filling sound, and when you actually get a level up. I'm not yet quite sure if what I have in the game now is good or not, so yeah, I'll probably still try to adjust that later on. Then I wanted to put those XP bars to actual use, so I added this end screen to the end of the battle, which will have the bars, and then of course there's the loot chest I implemented in a previous devlog. I already added some rules and variables for the XP gained in battle, so currently I think it's so that knockouts will give you XP and then dealing damage will give you XP, and then there's also some like static amount you will get, and then I'll probably have it so that if one unit dies in the battle, then that unit won't get XP at all. Let's see though, maybe I'll have some different rules for different game modes or stuff like that. But yeah, aside from some small tuning needed later on, the XP is pretty much already fully functional. And hey, that's actually everything I want to show in this devlog. So as per usual, I would love to hear in the comments what you think, if you have any feedback or ideas, suggestions, all that stuff. And as I mentioned in one of the devlogs, if you're curious about how many wishlists the game is getting or how my other games are selling, I do have that information on my Patreon page. It's behind a paywall, but hey, if you want to support the channel, then please go ahead and check that out. I make monthly reports there about all the sales numbers and wishes and all that stuff, so yeah, check it out if you're interested. Alright, but hey, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.